Commander Zexith of the Korthani Empire clicked his mandibles in satisfaction as he surveyed the primitive planet below. Earth, the humans called it. For 3 solar cycles, the Korthani fleet had been systematically dismantling human colonies across the outer rim, expecting each victory to bring the species to their knees. Yet somehow these peculiar bipeds continued to resist. "Commander," his tactical officer hissed through the comm, "the humans have sent another transmission." Zexth's 4 eyes rolled in unison. "Another surrender offer, I presume?" "No, sir. They're inviting us to dinner." The bridge fell silent except for the gentle hum of the ship's engines. Zexith's tail twitched, a sign of confusion among his species. "Dinner?" They claim it's a diplomatic gesture and insist on hosting us planetside for what they call peace talks over a proper meal. They've even provided coordinates to something called a barbecue venue. The other officers began chittering, the Korthani equivalent of nervous laughter. In all their centuries of conquest, no species had ever invited their destroyers to share food. Most civilizations either cowered in terror or fought to the bitter end. This was unprecedented. "Sir," the communications officer added, "they're being quite insistent. They say they've prepared something called Earth hospitality, and that we'd be honored guests." Commander Zexth had conquered 47 worlds. He had seen species beg, rage, and scheme, but invite their conquerors to dinner? The very absurdity of it made his combat instincts falter. "Perhaps," he mused aloud, "they seek to poison us?" "Unlikely, sir. Our scans show no toxins in the designated area. They appear to be genuinely preparing food." Against every military protocol he'd ever learned, Zexith found himself curious. What manner of species treated warfare like a social gathering? Very well, he decided. We'll humor these strange creatures. Prepare a landing party. If nothing else, we'll have an amusing tale for the war archives. 3 hours later, Zexith and 12 of his finest warriors materialized in what humans called a backyard. The space was decorated with colorful lights strung between trees, and the air was thick with the aroma of cooking meat. A large human male approached them, wearing an apron that read "Galaxy's Best Dad" and carrying a spatula like a weapon. "Welcome, welcome," the human boomed, extending a hand. "I'm Bob Martinez, your host for tonight. You folks must be hungry after all that space travel." Zexith stared at the outstretched appendage, then at Bob's genuine smile. This was not how conquered species typically behaved. You do realize we're here to subjugate your planet?" Zexith asked carefully. "Oh, sure," Bob waved dismissively. "But that's work talk. Tonight's about hospitality. Come on, let me introduce you to the gang." Before Zexith could process what was happening, he found himself being led to a gathering of humans who greeted him like an old friend. There was Margaret, who insisted on showing him photos of her grandchildren. There was Tony, who immediately began explaining the finer points of grilling to Zexith's bewildered warriors. And there was little Sarah, age 7, who matter-of-factly asked if Korthani babies were as cute as alien puppies. I don't understand," Zexith admitted to Bob as they stood by the grill. "We are your enemies. We have destroyed your colonies. Why do you treat us as guests?" Bob flipped a burger thoughtfully. "Well, Commander, can I call you Commander? The way I see it, you're a long way from home, probably eating nothing but ration packs, and you've never experienced real Earth hospitality." Seemed rude not to offer. "But we're at war. Are we, though?" Bob asked, raising an eyebrow. "I mean, you've been shooting at our military bases and empty colonies, but have you actually tried to sit down and talk to us? Maybe figure out why you're so angry in the first place?" Zexith's mandibles clicked in confusion. "We are not angry. We are expanding the empire." "Ah," Bob nodded knowingly. "Work obligations. Been there. Tell you what, try this." He handed Zexith a burger loaded with strange Earth vegetables and a meat patty that smelled unlike anything in the galactic food database. "This is sustenance?" Zexith asked. "This is a bacon cheeseburger, my friend. And trust me, after you try it, conquering Earth is going to be the last thing on your mind." As the evening progressed, something unprecedented happened in the annals of galactic warfare. Zexith found himself actually laughing at Tony's jokes about his mother-in-law. His warriors were teaching human children Korthani card games while learning something called poker. His communications officer was deep in conversation with a human grandmother about the best recipes for preserving food during long space voyages. When Sarah asked him why he wanted to take over Earth, Zexith found himself without a proper answer. "The Empire requires expansion," he said weakly. "But why?" she pressed. "Don't you have enough planets?" Well, it's complicated. My teacher says when grown-ups say something's complicated, it usually means they don't really know either." Out of the mouths of human larvae, Zexith thought. As the night wore on, Bob pulled out something called a guitar and began making music. Other humans joined in, and soon the entire gathering was singing something about Kumbaya. Zexith's tactical officer leaned over and whispered, "Sir, I've run the calculations. If we could bottle whatever makes these humans so hospitable, we could end conflicts across the galaxy." "Sir," his communications officer added, "I've been talking to these people all evening. They're not naive. They know exactly who we are and what we've done. But they've chosen to respond with kindness instead of fear. It's strategically brilliant, actually." Zexith looked around at his warriors, hardened soldiers who had participated in countless invasions, now helping human children catch fireflies in the growing darkness. He thought about the 47 worlds he had conquered, and for the first time wondered if he had missed something fundamental about the nature of victory. When Bob approached him near midnight with a container of leftover food for the road, Zexith made a decision that would echo through galactic history. "Robert Martinez of Earth," he said formally, "the Korthani Empire hereby withdraws all claims to your world." Bob grinned. "Great, same time next week?" "Margaret's making her famous potato salad." As Zexith's fleet departed Earth's atmosphere, he transmitted a message that would puzzle military historians for generations. Mission accomplished. Humans have demonstrated superior tactical capabilities. Recommend immediate diplomatic relations and cultural exchange programs. Also, request permission to establish permanent embassy for purposes of attending weekly barbecues. These humans have weaponized hospitality, and resistance is futile. The war that was supposed to last years ended in a single evening, defeated not by superior firepower, but by the simple human act of treating enemies as guests who just hadn't been properly welcomed yet. And somewhere in the Korthani War archives, a new strategy was filed under Earth Tactics: how humans ended a war with hamburgers.